Hey, what's up guys, real quick before the video does start, I just want to say that I have a too long didn't watch thing at the end where it just covers everything you need to know just in a short way instead of me going into a lot of depth. If you don't have that much time, just go to the very end. I'll have the timestamp for the too long didn't watch in the comments, so just check there, click on the timestamp, and yeah, you'll be able to get the basic points of the video in like 30 seconds. What's up guys, today I'm going to be making an arena guide, basically how to succeed in arena, how to get all those nice points, and this video is going to be a little longer than most, but by no means long. So first, what you got to consider is whether you're a confident W key fighter or just a passive player. If you are confident at W keying, I would definitely say do it, but you have to be okay with dying every once in a while. Bust fare in the beginning really isn't that much, so W keying has a sort of low risk and high reward if you're good at that kind of stuff. As far as I'm not really good at W keying, so I'm more of a passive player. But even if you are passive, you can still gain points pretty fast. I'm a passive player, I'm pretty passive, and I have 2,640 points already. So yeah, not bad, especially since I don't play that much arena. So the second thing I want to do is give you suggestions about the meta. So first we can go over ARs. Your two options are the heavy ARs and the normal ARs. So the heavy ARs are pretty much better, they shoot faster and they do more damage. But for some reason, I do normal ARs more, I just hit more shots with it. I don't know if it's bloom related, but yeah, I will usually take normal ARs over heavy. So now it's time to go over shotguns. I will always take the attack over the charge, no matter the rarities, unless it's pretty extreme. I'll probably take a legendary charge over a great attack, but besides that, I'm pretty much not taking any charge. Attack has saved me so many times, I just like it a lot, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking attack over the charge most times. So let's get into the actual game, shall we? So the first part of the game, and I think debatably the hardest part, is early game. You know, there's tons of RNG, you're going to get unlucky a lot of times, but I think the most important thing of early game is really a drop spot. I don't think it's fighting skills, I just think it's a drop spot. The drop spot is pretty much the foundation of how your game will play out, so if you want to do well, you need to make sure that you have a good drop spot. So I'm not going to go over into particular drops, but I'm going to go over a few things you should look at when you're choosing a drop. So the first thing you should get is guaranteed shield. You need shield no matter what. Chest bonds, I'm pretty sure, still are 100%. So you should probably look for a slurp truck or those slurp mushrooms or slurp barrels, just something that will guarantee that you have shield, because you don't want to be like me. I've already learned the hard way of finding literally 4 med kits and no shield at all. So you definitely want to have guaranteed shield. So, anywho, the second thing that you want to find in a drop spot is either mobility, so like a boat or maybe a place where you can get rift fish, or it needs to be close to center zone so rotates won't be far. This is important because mid-game you really want to know when to take fights and you don't want to get griefed while rotating, so yeah. The second thing you should look for is it's either close to the center of the map or it has mobility. So the last thing is a bit of a small thing. It seems small and it sort of is, but there's actually a lot of, small important aspects to it. And it's whether this drop fits your playstyle. So the most obvious example is if there's a lot of people who drop there. If you're good at early game, then yeah, you might want to drop somewhere that's a bit populated, so you can get all the good loot and get some good kills too. But that's not only the only thing you should take into account. You should also take into account like angles you're good at, like what kind of angles does the map have, and yeah, whether it just suits your playstyle and all that. So the next part we're going to talk about is mid-game. To be honest, I'm not really going to talk too much about mid-game. Just think about your playstyle, think about what you want to do, take smart fights. Smart fights is something that's, if you don't see anyone nearby, then it probably might be good to take the fight, because we all know how annoying third parties are. You can get someone really, really close to 1 HP and then suddenly die afterwards. Okay, gotta calm down there. I don't want to talk about me raging in arena, but just take smart fights and, just think about what you want to do, think about your playstyle, and you should be fine. Alright, and here we go. We're in the end game now. Okay, not gonna lie, that was a little cringy, but you are certainly in the end game. You've avoided everyone, you've won early game, or you've just gotten a huge W key game. So you gotta last an end game, you gotta finish this all off and get that sweet 60 victory arena points. So I think end game starts the second that the half and half circle closes in. Most people say other things, but you know, it sort of varies. But I think the second that the half and half circle closes and you get to the first moving is when endgame starts. If you have no mobility, the two options you have are to look for a refresh or just to tarp all the way to zone. So if you want to look for a refresh, you probably want to find someone that's near you, but's not drawing a lot of attention to themselves, so you can't get third party. You also might want to make sure that this person actually has more mobility, or if you just straight up don't have mats, then it's always a good bet. If you do have mats and the zone really isn't that far away, I would still suggest using your movement and saving your mats for the later zones. So if you do have to use materials, I would make sure you're probably using stone or metal. That would pretty much help a lot. It's obviously a little harder to grief. They don't build as fast, but I still think that you should use harder materials. One thing you also want to do is in the moving zone, you want to mark it on your map so you can see where the marker is to make sure if the moving zone will go up terrain or down terrain or whatever, so you can prepare yourself extra early. You also want to make sure you're on a layer with not a lot of people. So a layer is pretty much what sort of 1x1 layer you're on. I think it's sort of self-explanatory. But if there's like 10 people left and there's like 5 people on your layer, like the second layer or something like that, you probably want to move just a layer up. It helps a lot. And yeah, you just got to think about layers. So even if you're not in, a moving zone, it's always never hurting to check whether you could take height or not. Height is a huge advantage. Pretty much 90% of the time, people who have high ground will win the game. It's just because no one is spraying you because they're all on low ground. And first of all, they probably don't see you. Second of all, they won't bother to spray you because they themselves will then get griefed. So someone is already on height and they are looking like they'll probably shoot you or shoot you down, then it's probably best not to go for height at that time. Maybe if they drop or they get shot out, you can go for it later. If there are 3 people, so let's say there are 3 people left, you're getting to the very end of the game and you're on low ground, you're probably going to have to kill the person on low ground with you if they are on low ground. If they're second height, then height will probably spray them. But if they're on low ground with you, you're probably going to have to kill them. Let's say you successfully kill them, and there's someone on height with you. So if you have mats, I would suggest protecting yourself and trying to shoot them out. If you don't have mats, it's a bit harder. You sort of have to stay behind the person who's building up. You sort of have to stay like a little behind them so you can shoot them out. But yeah, it really comes down to aim, and if you are on height, just try to not peek that much. Just try to get some nice shots on them while you're there trying to shoot you out or whatever. Just play annoying and it'll work. Anyways guys, sorry that this video was a little long. It actually went a little over my expectations. And yeah, it's also not one of my best videos, but since this video is too long, I'm just going to put some key points to take away. So number 1, early game. The most important thing is a drop spot. It needs to have guaranteed shield. So like slurp chuck. Good position, like it needs to be somewhere center of the map, or it needs to have mobility, and it needs to fit your playstyle. For mid game, you just need to take smart fights, and for end game, you need to make sure you have a good layer. You need to mark moving zones on your map so you see whether they can go up or down. You need to play behind the person on height if you're on low ground, and if no one's contesting high, you can always go up for that and pretty much get a free win. And yeah, that's it.